I love sex. I'm a woman with a disability. It's not always apparent, but maybe you noticed when I walked out here. You thought, is she drunk? And the answer is, you'll never know. No, a little bit about me. I was born sandwiched between my brother and my sister. So each year on our birthday, I call and thank them for the brain damage. You can laugh, they aren't here. So because of that brain damage, as much as I love having sex, in cars, in beds, on the beach, disabled toilets, as much as I love having sex with nearly anyone, they can't have sex with me. In Queensland anyway. It's actually against the law. The Criminal Code Act 1899, section 216 says, anyone who attempts or engages in carnal knowledge with someone with an impairment of the mind, you are subject to subsection 3A, 3B, guilty of a crime and liable to 14 years imprisonment. Yeah, so I have this really cute neurological condition called cerebral palsy. So it's legally defined as an impairment of the mind. I think of it more of an impairment of the left foot. But hey, that's too nuanced. And disabled people weren't really contributors to the laws of the 1890s, nor really now. So that means if I meet someone in Queensland and we do the thing consenting adults are able to do to experience connection and joy, they can go to jail. The sex really has to be worth the jail term. It puts a lot of pressure on me. I don't even know what a subsection 3A or 3B is. Honestly, it sounds kind of dirty. But just warning you, this is a PG talk, which is lucky for you. Because non-disabled people can't seem to handle R-rated talks about sex and disability. It's confronting, maybe even shocking. If you Google it, you end up on a fetish website. But don't do that, because I'm there. Much like the way my brain and body communicates, non-disabled people can't seem to connect sex and disability properly. Something that's normal for everyone else ends up being a special on TV. Because apparently for you to understand that we have sex too, you need a whole show about it, with an expert panel. When I was younger, I struggled about being openly confident about my sexuality and being who I was. It felt less like something I should celebrate and more like something I should hide. When I was 18, it was easier to tell my friends that I'd been attacked by a shark than tell them the truth. I have a dark secret. I have more in common with my 95-year-old grandmother than I do my peers. She uses a walker. I used to use a walker. She often pushes me around on her walker when I can't be bothered walking anymore. And much like my grandmother, I also have bunions. And bunions don't really make you feel sexy as an 18-year-old. I had a giant callousy growth that had to be surgically removed. So instead, I told my friends that I'd been attacked by a shark on holiday and injured my foot. And guess what? I picked up. That's the story of how I lost my virginity. It wasn't just me who was more comfortable with the story. Non-disabled people, it also makes it more palatable for people who are non-disabled. I think it's why we haven't addressed accessibility, because I think we remind you that your time will come. And we are the only group with an open membership. You can join at any time. But I was uncomfortable too with my disability, often feeling like my brain and body were broken and needed to be fixed. But you know, with time I learned to make peace with my body, with the story of who I am and how I move through the world. And just like anyone else, my sexuality is just a part of who I am. These days, the most awkwardness I encounter is from other people when I sleep with their boyfriends. You should be able to trust the disabled girl. Classic ableism. No, you shouldn't. Sometimes I have to do it just to teach people a lesson. I may have a disability, but I'm still a threat. Sometimes it's not the prejudice I hate, it's the patronising. The other day I was listening to a podcast from BBC Radio 4 about sex and disability in the 19th century in disabled institutions. There were no personal accounts from disabled people included in the podcast or seemingly recorded at the time. Instead, we get an excerpt from the Cambrian Institute of the Deaf and Dumb from their annual report from 1888. It says, in the advice that they sent out to parents in their annual report, amongst the things like pack an extra winter coat, they include this: warn him in time against forming any attachment to a born deaf person, and do not be persuaded a union with one like himself is best for him. I love the disabled sex evolution, from educational TV show to informative podcast, and now TEDxByronBay. But you know, we are out of the institutions now and living in your community. So instead of institutions supporting us, we have organisations. One of these organisations wrote on their website, fact, people with physical disabilities can have sex. Wow. The permission we were after. What a relief for people with a physical disability. It's edgy, but society can handle it. It can't handle the idea of people having sex, with those with an impairment of the mind having sex. There are issues around consent, and vulnerable people must be protected, but there's just no nuance. So, you know, for as long as this law exists in Queensland, I actually love having sex there. It's kind of my kink. I love having sex with guys in Queensland, and if they don't evoke joy from me, I put them away for 14 years. And I've taken it a little further. I also like to take guys over the border. And I'm slowly clearing the eastern seaboard of disappointing men, one dud route at a time. Thank you. Thank you. I'm Alexandra Hudson.